Welcome to another episode of Buzz School. I'm Jasmine Pierce, a senior director here at BXO. On this episode, I had the pleasure of speaking with Cowles. She's a literary agent and the founder of the Cowles Agency. On this episode, you'll learn how to put together a book proposal, what makes an idea sellable, and the common mistakes to avoid as a new author. So if you've ever wondered how to take your book from an idea to a bestseller, keep listening and I hope you enjoy.
Hey, Kitty, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. For those of us who are new to this, can you just tell us in layman's terms, what is the role of a book agent and why does an author even need one?
I'll start with the second question first about why an author needs an agent. And it's really simple. A lot of publishers won't take unsolicited manuscripts. So most publishers don't work with authors who don't have agents. So that's first and foremost. And essentially, the agent is really responsible for helping the author to craft a fantastic book proposal. And then the agent submits it to one or several publishers, depending on the sell strategy, and then negotiates the book deal, negotiates the contract, and then is really there as the author's right-hand person throughout the entire publishing process to really handle anything from, oh, the author can't stand the cover, to, oh, we have to figure out, have a marketing meeting and start to develop a marketing strategy, to any number of things. And then when the book is out, the agent really usually helps the author to think about what the book two should be.
So say they have a book idea, maybe they've even more or less started writing it. What should an author have ready to present when they're looking for a book agent?
There's like a query letter that goes to agents. The query letter should really be a short brief on what the book idea is, why they think the book idea is relevant and important today, an idea that's really kind of connected to our world as we're living in at this moment, a little bit about the author platform. So, who are they? Who's their audience? Who are they speaking to on a regular basis?
What do you think is one of the number one mistakes that people make early on in the process?
They don't have a book idea. And I know that sounds really funny, but it's true. There's so many people that are like, oh, I've done XYZ thing. And you're sort of like, that's great, but what's the book idea? So you really should do the hard work of figuring out, okay, what's that unique idea, that unique for a cookbook, that unique culinary idea that really aligns with A, who I am, and B, what you think the world needs. And that is like the number one thing that everybody is looking for. That really is the hard thing to figure out.
Say I have an idea for a culinary focused book, but maybe I'm not a well-known chef or food personality.
Yeah.
How do I go about even getting started? Like, what would make me stand out? Do you advise just, sending a cold email, or is snail mail better?
I represent a woman who is coming out in the fall with a Chinese baking book. And it sounds really specific and targeted, but she's fantastic. And she's got, a small but growing audience, and she's just a lovely person. And actually someone came to me and said, Kitty, I really love her Instagram. You have to check it out. And I looked at it and it reminded me of another book, a Mexican baking book. And I thought, wow, there's nothing in this category that's, on this topic. I reached out to her and she was completely excited. And we started working on the proposal and really trying to craft a message of that why this book is important, why there isn't anything out, and comparing it to this other successful book. So we found a publisher at HarperCollins, and the book is coming out in the fall. And it's really great. And she's just this wonderful person. So I think the book is going to be great and exciting.
That's really valuable insight, like having your social media feed essentially be your business card. I mean, it is at this point really in our society.
And if she hadn't have done that Instagram as beautifully as she did to showcase her great ideas, it definitely would have been a harder thing for me to get behind.
Tell us, how do the financials work?
Every agent charges the same amount. I mean, at least 90% do, which is 15%. And we only get paid on the thing that we sell. So it's 15% of the advance and royalty of the book, but it's only payable out of the money from the book publisher. So as a result, agents have to be very picky about what they're taking on. They have to really believe in the project. Bottom line is that none of my authors pay out of pocket for anything involved with the book. So if I have an author who is writing the book themselves and getting a photographer, that is usually covered or more than covered. Sometimes I have authors who are writing the book, they have a tester, they have a photographer, a food stylist, a prop stylist, all that stuff, it's covered. I mean, it can be as high as very high to sell a book. So there's no average. It's all about timing and how good the proposal is, frankly.
Yeah, you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, you've had your agency for over 15 years.
Yeah.
So what style of books do you typically look for? And what do you think sells the most right now? Like, what are publishers looking for at this moment?
I'm looking for three things, three key things. One is someone who's speaking to an important, clear audience of people. Like, that's the most important thing, is someone who's speaking to a clear audience. It could be small, it could be huge, but we need to know who they're talking to, so that we can craft a book to start there with those people. You have to have a mission. That's part of this clear idea, clear reason to do the book. And then you have to have a book proposal that is clear concept, a great writing voice, and a really dynamite outline and table of contents that really click into or connect with what the concept is.
So what would be the one piece of advice that you would give to an author on generating buzz for their book project?
I would say you have to start early, much earlier than you think. I'm starting to work on fall books right now. Okay, it's March.
Oh, wow.
I started working on some fall books in February. They're coming out in September, October. I would also say meet with your publisher early and have a game plan. Every author has a different strength. Some authors are great at partnerships, so the game plan should be tied to linking in with those partners and trying to find ways to sponsor tours or take over their Instagram or whatever. Other authors are great at, are great on YouTube or videos, so we have to figure out a strategy for that. Other authors have newsletters. So whatever the strength is of the author, you need to have a plan early. You have to start early, and you have to really spend a ton of time on the marketing side of things and really take charge, because the publisher's team is, generally great, but they have a ton of books. So you have to really take the lead and really accept the fact that you have to take the lead in whatever marketing endeavor you choose.
Okay, so now for a couple of rapid fire questions. So the first thing that comes to mind, a COVID ritual that you're going to stick with.
Oh, easy. Walking in Central Park and Riverside.
Okay, a restaurant or bar that you will run to as soon as possible, or the one that you miss the most.
I would definitely say Marlowe or Diner. I haven't been to Brooklyn since this whole thing happened, and I am really dying to get over there.
Your favorite book that you've read from the past year?
One book I really loved and learned so much from was a book called Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. It was before Cast, and it's all about the migration from the South to not only the northern states, but also California, which I knew very little about. And I just fell in love with the characters in the book, the actual people whose lives are described in really vivid detail.
The last thing that made you belly laugh?
My daughter, who's 23, lives about 10 minutes away from me. We basically laugh at almost every little thing. Like, we will walk down the street and come up with a joke and start cracking up about it. We were making lots of kooky cocktails over the summer. She just makes me laugh all the time.
Lastly, who do you want to throw some buzz to today? Who is out there doing something cool that you think that more people should know about?
2 books of mine that are coming out this spring. Renee Erickson's book, Getaway, which is published by Abrams and is a phenomenal book about all the wonderful cities that she's traveled to and learned so much from over the years. It's a food and drink book that is just perfect for our time right now. And Sheldon Simeon's book, Cook Real Hawaii, that he wrote with Garrett Snyder. And it's a beautiful, wonderful story of Hawaii and all the influences from other cultures that have made the food there so unique. These books and others coming out in the fall by all the authors are books that were written during pandemic. And it was just such a big commitment from publishers and authors to get these books done during these difficult times. And it's just going to be, these books are all going to be super special this year coming out for that reason.
Thank you so much. I think we've all learned so much from you today, and we really appreciate your time. And thank you everybody for tuning in to Buzz School. Until next time.